Hi, I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas. And I just like to hop on every once in a while, well, once a week, and show you how to make a card that I've previously posted on my blog. So this is the card we're going to be making today. It was on my blog last week, and whenever I post this video, I'll make sure to include a link to this card on my blog in the description. And you can click on that link, and at the bottom of the post there will be a product list of everything that I used for this card. And there's also included in the blog is measurements. So if you want to learn any of the specific measurements and just see them written down, they're going to be on that blog post. So give me just a second to flip the camera around, and then we'll get started stamping. Thanks. Okay, so I wanted to show you before we get started the supplies that we're going to be using. So I have my stamp cut and emboss machine over here, so we can use this brick and mortar 3D embossing folder in that. We have 3 punches, the rectangle postage stamp punch, and both daisy punches, the medium and the regular size. From Sunny Sentiments, we're going to be using a Happy Hello. I have it posted, or I have it on a C block. And then from Daisy Lane, we're for sure going to be using both of these daisies. And I have them mounted on a C block and on a D block. And again, I've said this in previous videos, but if you don't have multiple blocks, that's okay. You can just use one D block. Just make sure that you are cleaning your stamps every when you use them, and put them away, and then put another stamp on your block. But you can very easily use one block for all these different stamps. I have a non-alcoholic baby wipe and just like a pencil tray that I like to keep near me while I'm stamping, so that I can just put my stamps in that until I'm finished stamping, and then I'll clean everything. I also keep a small mason jar on my desk. This is, I think, an 8 ounce, just for little scraps of trash while I'm stamping. I have an 8.5 by 5.5 inch card base in Night of Navy. I've scored it at 4 1/4 inches. And then I have another piece that is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. I also have 3 pieces of basic white cardstock. I'll be doing my stamping on 2 of these pieces. The other one is 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. And it's going to be the inside of my card. There's also 2 pieces of Designer Series paper strips. These are both from the Pattern Play 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. And they are, this one is 1/4 inch by 5 1/8 inch. This one is 1/2 inch by 5 1/8 inch. Also got some white twine. And of course we'll be using Stampin' Dimensionals and multi-purpose liquid glue, and probably some glue dots to attach the twine. Okay, so let's get started. I like to start by stamping. That way I can go on to some other things while my ink is drying. Got something on my stamp. A little piece of lint. There we go. Oh, good. I always like to check my stamps, because sometimes they'll get a little lint on them or a little hair on them, and it messes up how well they stamp. Okay, so I'm starting with crushed curry. I have crushed curry and a Flirty Flamingo that I'm stamping with today. But the flowers are all going to be crushed curry. Make sure I get an even stamp. And you want 2 each of the larger daisies as well as the smaller daisies. Let me just see where's going to be the best place to stamp. I think it's going to be right here. Yep, plenty of room. Okay, so I'm going to stamp my sentiment using Flirty Flamingo. Got something on the bottom of this one too. Whoops, I got a nipsey. Okay, so let's see. There we go, much better. Okay, so I always close my ink pads because I am a messy, messy girl, and if I don't, I'll have ink everywhere. So let's set those aside so they can dry for just a minute. And I'm going to go ahead and grab that smaller piece of Knotted Navy cardstock. Again, this is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. I have my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And for this, all I need is plate 1, my embossing folder. I'm going to turn it upside down. Actually, I'm turning it upside down and sideways. Now, the instructions say don't really do this. But as long as I'm not, actually, no. This is not what I want. I do want it. Yes, this is how I want it. But I can do it like this. I just want to make sure that my bricks are going side to side and not up and down. So I can put it in like this, and this is good. Okay, I'm lining it up with this line. I don't know if you can see it. Nope. Okay, see this line right here on my embossing folder? You can see it better from the front. So I am putting it upside down so that I can line my cardstock up with that line so that I keep everything pretty straight. Just need to make sure it doesn't move while I'm making my sandwich here. I'm going to run it through. I'm going to go ahead and bring it back to me, make it sure it's nice and embossed. Nice, crisp, clean lines. And oh yeah, that looks good. You can see the 3D embossing there. Okay. There you go. Get that out of the way. And now, let's go ahead and attach the twine. And I'm just going to cut a strip that's a little bit wider than my cardstock. And actually, before we attach the twine, we should attach the Designer Series paper. So what I'm going to do is put a thin line of multi-purpose liquid glue at the bottom of this wider piece of cardstock. Now I'm going to line this strip up towards the bottom, and if I can, I would like it to hang off the edge just a little bit. There we go. That looks good. Fairly even. I'm going to grab another baby wipe to wipe my fingers off. Got a little bit of glue on them. Okay, so now this can be glued onto our embossed piece of Knotted Navy. Make sure there's not any glue there. We're going to put it about right here. There's no right or wrong. You just want to have room for your daisy in the corner and your sentiment piece to go on here. So that looks good. Since I got a little bit of glue here, so this is an adhesive eraser. I got this on Amazon, and I will try to remember to put a link in the description. If I forget, somebody just remind me and I'll add it. Okay. I said I was a messy stamper, and I am living up to that today. Okay, so I'm going to grab 2 glue dots. I'm going to put one on either side of this twine and attach the twine to the back. So there's the first one. Just wrap that around, make sure it's straight. That way it covers up this point where both of the cardstocks overlap the designer series paper. Okay, and I'm going to get my bone folder and go ahead and fold my card base in half and smooth out the edge. And I'm going to use a few glue dots on the back of this. To stick it to our card base. Oh, I almost got that one. Oh, I just realized you can't see what I'm doing. So I'm putting the glue dots in the corners. Put one here. So when Stampin' Up! Changed things up and put these glue dots where you could tear them off and use them like this really easy, first I wasn't sure about it, but I am actually really loving how easy it is to just tear off however many I need and attach them to my projects. Okay, so I'm going to flip that over. I'm making sure that my card is opening on the right side. Don't want to put my card together upside down, that would not be fun. There. That's good and attached. Okay, so now we can start punching. And I might need to cut this paper a little bit before we punch things out, but okay, so far so good. Whenever I'm punching, I always like to turn my punch upside down so I can see exactly what I'm doing. And if you haven't used the Stampin' Up! Punches before, they have a latch on them so you can close them and store them closed and flat so they don't take up as much room in your drawers or on your shelves, however you store them. Trying to get it centered as good as... There we go, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and grab the rectangle and punch out my sentiment. There we go. And then the 2 larger daisies. And I bet I do have to trim this paper some. Nope, so far so good. You see, trying to get that centered up nicely. this one. Oh, I still don't have to cut it. It's gonna work. Okay, can you see how I got that centered? Man, my camera. There we go. Okay, so now it's just a matter of assembling the front. So I'm going to put a piece, or not a piece, I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue on the center of this large daisy. Oh, I can't bring it up. Okay, and then I'm going to put the other daisy the same size on it and just turn it until I like the way they're lined up. Then I'm going to do the same with these medium-sized daisies. Okay, now I'm going to put some glue on the back of this daisy and layer it on the larger daisies. And spinning it to where everything is offset. Okay, I'm going to set that aside so it can dry for a minute. And while that's drying, I think the first thing I'm going to do is just take a little bit of this twine. And I'm just going to tie a knot in it. And then I'm going to tie another knot in it. Just so I know it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to trim it with my paper snips. Okay, so on the back of my center piece, I am going to put 4 Stampin' Dimensionals. So I'm going to do 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. Whoa, I almost messed up, didn't I? Okay, so I want to make sure there's room for my daisy up here. And then I'm going to put that over the DSP and the twine. Okay, my daisies have dried now, the glue has, and the ink. So I'm going to use my bone folder, and starting with the smaller ones, I'm going to curl the petals up a little bit. I'm grabbing 2 or 3 at a time. I'm not giving them just a lot of curl, just a little bit. And then I'm going to take the larger ones and do the same with them. Just trying to give it some dimension here, not have it just look like a flat flower. Okay, what do you think? Can you see the dimension that the curled petals adds? Okay, so now I'm just going to take that liquid glue again, put it in the center of the back of the daisies, and then place it on my card where it's over my little rectangle, but not over any of my letters. Perfect. So easy card. It doesn't take too long. I really slowed it down while I was talking. But yeah, it's a quick card to put together. Super cute. I love this color scheme. It is so fun. And so for the inside, on this one, I added Smile and the smallest daisy at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a B block to put this daisy on. And I'll grab my other B block to put Smile on. So remember, this is a 4" by 5 1/4" piece of basic white cardstock. And this time, no, I'm still going to do the Flirty Flamingo. I just really like this color. So I'm going to stamp out my flower. Put it down here in the corner. And then ink up my Smile and put it next to it. Perfect. I'll let that ink dry just a second. Okay, now I'm just going to add multi-purpose liquid glue to the back. Whoa, see, gotta make sure you're doing things right. I almost put that in there upside down. Alright, it's all centered, smooth it down, and we have a completed card. Thank you so much for stamping with me today. I hope that you continue to come back and make cards together or see what I've been up to, and if you feel like it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Happy stamping!